The John J. Doran School is a kindergarten through 8th grade school in Fall River, Massachusetts. The school serves a high-needs population of students, including many English language learners, low-income students, and students with disabilities. The school was identified as a turnaround school in 2010. Doran made significant achievement gains over its 3-year turnaround period and remains on a trajectory of sustained improvement.
Our school was a very silent school, I would say, very traditional. It was a lot about the teaching, probably, and probably not a lot of focus on the learning, probably teacher-driven, worksheet-oriented, really focused on, I would say, assigning rather than instruction. And what we had to do is we had to kind of revolutionize that and really tip the table and really get our teachers comfortable with productive noise. It's okay for kids to be on the floor, working in groups, and talking about their learning is one of the best ways to gauge what kids are actually learning. So we had to make that shift.
Initially, when we first started, one of the things that Maria and I had noticed, we walked through the halls and walked into classrooms, and Maria had said to me, it's interesting that this is an ELL school and there's no talking. So it was, like Maria had said, it was very teacher-directed. Kids would just listen, take in the information. So the first thing that we did was we brought in like accountable talk.
Good morning, Jason. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Hannah.
Morning meeting really has transformed our school because really it was so important for us to, as a community, to recognize all of our children, one another, and to really teach our kids social skills. It really sets a tone for our school. It gives teachers an opportunity to really gauge where children are, how they're coming in, and really gives them an opportunity to adjust and keep an eye on who needs support and how they're going to go about their day, how successful they're going to be.
I think that was the initial change. That was the initial shift around teachers thinking that, you know, it doesn't have to be just me up here giving information, that the kids can get involved and they can talk to one another and they can use the accountable talk stems. And I agree with you, but, you know, so really getting them thinking. I think that was the initial step.
One of the things that we did as a staff is we came together and we really looked at ourselves and looked at where we were with our data, where we were as a school, and say, okay, these are the kids that we have. This is our data. This is what the work that needs to be done. And then we had all the staff together, and I said, so what would it take from a person to work in a school that is this needy? So we, as a staff, created these attributes. You know, people have to be committed. They have to be invested. They have to be current and willing. You know, a learner, open. And then I asked people to be reflective and to really think about, okay, where do you fit? In this chart, like look at all these characteristics. What are your strengths? What are your areas that you need to work on? Do you think you can commit yourself to the work? We needed to fill our school with people that were committed to our kids and believed that, you know what, it's going to be hard work, but our poor kids can learn.
If you are a school that's going to be going through this process of coming out of a level 4, I think the mindset is so important that you think about what you can do, you know, to change things. You're not looking at what the child can't do. You're looking at how you can change and reach that child. And I think that, you know, we all have that mindset here, that every child can learn. And we'll take them from where they are to where they need to be.
I think year one really was about systems building. So we created, obviously, our teams. We used to meet, but I think it was more informal. And we made sure that everything we did had a purpose. And we were tracking and documenting all of our work.
There's definitely expectations. When you come every 6 weeks, you have to have your data, you have to have your attendance sheets. In the past, you might say, well, this student's struggling. Okay, we knew that 6 weeks ago, but what has changed over that time?
The teachers now they have data walls in their classroom of various different data points, and the kids have folders with all of their data in it, and they have data conferences with each student saying this is where you were, this is where you need to be in setting goals. That's empowering for kids. So now they know where they are and they know where they need to be.
It's really about what we're putting in front of kids and really about being thoughtful about the instruction and the tasks, and really listening to where children are, because the student work is really our barometer for what is happening in the classroom.
The biggest idea that you have to share with your classmates, if I said pick one thing that you wanted to share about this investigation, what would you share?
I would share the number line.
Number line, what do you think? We give them a type of problem, and what they know at the end of each class is they're going to have to share out. So what did I learn from this? Did I get stronger in one area? What type of models did you use? What type of strategies? And they're almost writing their own objectives, because there's so many different entry points. When you look back and see the different groups that I met with, one group was just focusing on, am I dividing 125 or am I multiplying it? Whereas a separate group was saying, well, I'm going to use this number line, but maybe they're working on how to partition that number line. So each group has their own entry point and what they were learning.
We knew that if we invested in teachers, at the end of the day, the teacher matters. So if we have good quality instruction going on in classrooms, we would be able to move the building. We ended up with these teams in 3 to 8. And Diane and I would facilitate weekly common planning time. So we ensured that we had a schedule that was aligned so that teachers could meet. They could look at student work together. They could discuss data, develop action plans based on their data.
Like what I know now, I think teaming is so important, and also creating a culture of collaboration and transparency. Our staff, communication is a huge piece of our work. Our staff owns the work at Doran.
We're a very collaborative staff, and we risk going to someone and saying, I don't know what to do here, can you help me? So and that's a natural thing.
It really has given us an opportunity to really focus on what happens at 101 Fountain Street. So we really had to do that bullseye piece and really say, okay, so I'm never going to be able to change the way a child lives at home or the socioeconomics of the home, but it really forces us to look within ourselves. So if we can't control what happens there, how are we going to control what happens here? So what we did is we, as a staff, we decided that we were going to, or as a school, we decided we were going to roll up our sleeves, and we knew that either we were going to have to transform ourselves or the state was going to come in and do it for us, right? And we decided we're going to do it ourselves.